Hello and welcome to the Arkansas Weather Blog. We are your ticket to big weather events. Thank you very much for watching this video blog discussion. I know many of you don't like this. You want snow and some of you want ice. I don't want the ice. Let's be on record with saying that. But there's a lot going on with our weather. As we promised you, the frontal boundary, which would put an end to this mild December, would come in at or just after Christmas. Well, it's here now. After a high temperature on Christmas Day of 59 degrees. I know it was a little warm for a lot of people's liking, which, by the way, was the warmest Christmas day since 1982, and we all know what happened. That 59 degrees may have been shortly after midnight, and I got to go back and look, but a frontal boundary came through because you know what happened Christmas Eve, 1982? The tornado outbreak. I think there were 29 tornadoes on Christmas Eve, 1982, and then 59 was the high the next day, so I imagine that there may have been a cold front, obviously, and that high may have been set early in the day. But as promised, that cold front's coming in, and it's not just a shock and awe Arctic boundary that came through. We've got colder temperatures. The high today, 41. So, Christmas was on Thursday, and we had a high of 59. Then we brought those temperatures down. We're down to 41, so not a drastic change. Now, we have a new area of Arctic high pressure coming in, which starts to make inroads into Arkansas on Tuesday, and especially Tuesday night. I looked at the dew point values Tuesday night, and they drop into the single digits dew point values, not the air temperature. And then, if you've been following the blog, and I'm going to show you several models here to show you what's going on because there's a lot of interesting stuff. The conditions I know there are a lot of winter weather enthusiasts out there. You want snow. This is just not a setup at this time. The way it looks does not look like a setup for snow whatsoever. In fact, I think that there's a better chance that there would actually be a little bit of ice, sleet, and freezing rain, and I'm going to explain to that. And that's mainly for western and northern Arkansas. But this is the storm system. You're looking at the GFS and the Euro. I'm going to show you in just a second. But this is the 500 millibar pattern. You see the ridge going up towards the eastern Pacific. Strong trough and a very strong upper level low here across California and Nevada. And then we got the Arctic air coming in. And this is going to track towards the east. Now, the models last week were showing this coming in on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day with the possible winter weather event because you had all this cold air in place. Well, as we've been telling you, this cold air comes in, but then it starts to exit, and this area of low pressure aloft, does not get kicked out until late in the week. And the GFS continues that trend, but the Euro shows something completely different. And let me show you some really, of course, I'm a weather geek. It's interesting and it's fascinating to me to see all this stuff and to watch how it changes and how this eventually will play out. But the GFS brings this out and moves it out rapidly, and I'm going to take you through. This is valid. Let's see, let's just start off here at 6 a.m. on New Year's Eve. And it's still at 6 a.m. on Wednesday over California. Remember, last week it was supposed to be over the Mid-South, so it's way far to the west. But it brings it out eventually. There it is. You see it spinning. This is Friday at 6 p.m. It's still out towards our west, but yeah, we have an initial wave of moisture coming through, and then this should really bring in some warmer air, especially aloft. It's going to be a cold, miserable rain, but I think it could start as some sleet, especially in freezing rain for western and northern Arkansas, and in the western Arkansas, the higher elevations, but northern Arkansas, there could be a period of sleet and freezing rain as this comes in, and then it goes to a cold rain, and a cold rain for everybody else, and I'll show you the temperatures in just a second. But you see how the GFS takes it towards the northeast, and I'm going to just stop this. Just to remember this time and where this area of low pressure is. This is Saturday at 6 p.m., January the 3rd. Saturday, 6 p.m., January the 3rd. That area of low pressure is now over New England. And, why did I do that? Okay, the other thing I want you to notice, more Arctic air getting ready to plunge towards the south. So there's another round of air. Now let's go to the European. All right, this is Tuesday evening. This is Wednesday morning, so not too far away. Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. There's that strong area of low pressure aloft. But look at this. The European dragging its heels. All right, I'm going to go. That's Saturday morning. And here's Saturday at 6 p.m. It's over Oklahoma, and it's quite strong. Why do I keep bouncing back like that? Right there. It's over Oklahoma right here at 6 p.m. That's the European. Keeps it hung back way out here, still influencing our weather, while the GFS has it up into New England. So you can see there's a major difference between the long-range models as to how this is going to track. So the timing, the track, the intensity, all of that is still in question. So we'll see how all this plays out. Now, again, so right now I'm kind of leaning more towards the GFS, maybe a little bit slower than the GFS. Maybe it's a compromise between the two. But let's go here to, I'll show you that in just a second. Let's go to temperatures. Now, what you're looking at here are 2-meter maximum temperatures. So just off the surface, maximum 6-hour temperatures here. And let's go out to, okay, so this is New Year's Eve, 38 degrees. So it's showing a high temperature around 30. I think it could be a little bit colder than this. But 38 degrees in central Arkansas, low to mid 30s across the north and south Arkansas, as high as in the 40s. Low 40s at that on New Year's Eve. Then New Year's Day, the high temperature, 37 degrees on New Year's Day. Most of the state has high temperatures in the 30s on New Year's Day. And then that system comes in, and this is where it warms a little bit at the surface. So if there's any precipitation during the onset of this, it's frozen, but then goes over to a plain rain. And you can see a warm air surge. Some of the model runs have actually shown the warm air getting well into southeast Arkansas, and that would present a thunderstorm threat. This is late on Friday, by the way, early Saturday. But I think it's just going to be a cold, miserable rain for much of the state, and the onset, again, could be something frozen. This is the, I've been showing this every now and then, especially on Facebook. This is looking at the GFS ensemble forecast in increments of 5 days. It's at the anomalies in degrees Celsius, so the departure from average in degrees Celsius, plus or minus. Where you see these purples, if you like cold weather, you like the purples. Where you see the reds, if you like warm weather, well, you like the reds. And that's going to be, this is from now through the next 5 days. So this is looking at now through January the 2nd. Look at all the above average temperatures across the southeast. There's the Arctic air coming in across the plains and the Intermountain West. Above average in Alaska very, very often once you get that ridge poking up in the eastern Pacific and into Alaska, that dislodges the cold air, so it's textbook. It's coming down. All right. Now, the models show this is the 3 to 8. Notice how the southeastern United States keeps with those above average temperature anomalies. And this is the 5 to 10 day. And again, here's a new batch of Arctic air coming down. So you see that the departure from average in degrees Celsius is quite significant across the plains, while it's significantly above in the southeastern United States. The reason why I'm pointing that out, this is where the storm track is likely to lie, because you have the clash in the air. This is where you're getting the greatest temperature contrast. Most likely, this is where it's all happening. So you're talking about the western Gulf of Mexico, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. So this is the storm track, the fight between the cold air and the colder than average air and the warmer than average air. So I just wanted to show you that, where that storm track is lining up over the next several days. So it'll be interesting to watch how this closed low and how all this interacts. So many question marks as to how this is going to unfold as we go late week. But as you've seen on the air, my forecast calls for precipitation increasing. It's going to be cold again, especially Wednesday and Thursday. Precipitation increasing Thursday night into Friday morning. I think it's northern and western Arkansas, sleet, freezing rain will be possible. Nothing heavy, but we know it doesn't take much to cause problems, especially after a couple days of very cold temperatures. But then it will transition to a cold rain. At times, some of the models have shown some of that warmer air getting into southeast Arkansas and maybe some instability. If that were to happen, then we'd have to watch for the possibility for some strong thunderstorms across southeast Arkansas. Again, that's all dependent upon the track of that, and that would happen probably late on Friday. What about the timing? The GFS takes this thing all the way up into New England. The European holds it back. So maybe it's somewhere in between, but a lot can change. There's so many variables. What's going to happen? I'll keep you updated. Thanks again for coming to the Arkansas Weather Blog. We are your ticket to big weather events.